everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Lorian, I'm a mum of 5 and this video I'm going to talk about parenting like all together, but mainly Lilac, my youngest, who is 9 months old. She is 10 months old on the 9th, so that's like super soon, isn't it? Actually, I never know what date it is. I haven't like got notes or anything because I'm just sort of gonna just go with what I think. Yeah, because I obviously just know quite a bit about parenting now, right or wrong. We all have our own ways of parenting. So yeah, I'm just gonna tell you my ways, not necessarily the right way or how it will work for you and your baby or things that you like, but yeah, we just all sort of do it in our own way, don't we? I have also asked some questions on Instagram, if anybody wanted to ask me any questions, because sometimes I get questions about just like how I do certain things or yeah, things like that. So I have got a few responses. I did do it quite late last night, so I only literally have a few responses, and I'm filming it quite early this morning, so yeah, I didn't really give it a chance. I should have posted it earlier. So I'm going to talk like about her development, what she eats, and yeah, just like sleep and things like that. So if we start with development, because I think like sleep's quite a big subject. I do get quite a few people message me asking how my children sleep so well, so I will get into that. So development wise, my children have all been like really early crawling and walking, like 4 or 5 months crawling, walking 8, 9 months. But Lilac was a little bit later than the others. She was maybe crawling at like 7 months, and she's not walking yet, but I think she's gonna be walking soon. She's nearly 10 months. So I think all my others, apart from Rue, are walking by now. But she's not walking yet. She's close, like she keeps just standing up, and she will pull herself up on things. And sometimes she'll like stand there for a second and then she'll fall. It's really sweet. But things like that never concern me. So like if your child is not walking, crawling, whatever like you think they should be doing, teeth, things like that, just don't worry about it too much, because babies do all like go at their own pace, and it always just happens eventually. They'll be fine, they'll get there when they get there. Because I had, with Rue's speech, he was quite slow. He's nearly 4 and he's only just started speaking really well, and I had the nursery say to me like, are you concerned, would you like speech therapy? And I went to an appointment about it because I just would always like to be clued up just in case. But I did say like I'm not really concerned because I just know that he will be okay, he will speak when he's ready to speak. Just don't compare your baby to other people's children because they just are so different. Think of being adults. What adults do you know that cannot speak properly? Let's be honest, like we can all speak. She's just doing really well. I don't really think that I parent very to the book. I just sort of, I think, especially as a first time mum, but as a mum you feel pressured to like do certain things or not do certain things, and I just think if it feels right for you then it probably is right. I always feed my babies from around 4 months. I know they say 6 months, but it's like it works for me then. Development also, with sitting up, Lilac has just started sitting up. She was just quite slow with that too. And she just, yeah, wouldn't sit up, but she has started sitting up. And I think like once she came along with these sort of like developments, it just started to like come so quickly. And she's doing so well. She's just so lovely, the happiest little baby. And I just don't put pressure on parenting. I think like when you put pressure on it, it just makes it really difficult. And there's no need to like put pressure on yourself. You do just know as a mum, it is really natural. So I think like you can Google and look up things, but if you think that it's right for your baby, it probably is right for your baby. So Lilac has 2 teeth at the bottom. They came through like a few months ago, quite quickly. And yeah, she's eating well. She picks her food like that. What I feed her, I'm going to do a video of what Lilac eats in a day. Yeah, eating. So she has 2 little teeth, and I don't really like to start them on much food before now because I don't think they handle it very well. So I usually, before they have teeth, I would always give them some porridge. I usually do porridge in the morning, and then I do some fruit pots, and I just sort of leave it as that, and some milk, and just gradually work up. That's talking like younger babies. Let's talk now on her schedule. So she will wake up in the morning around 6 o'clock. We'll go downstairs. I'll do her some porridge. If she's still like looking like she wants more, I'll give her a fruit pot as well, which is like 50% of the time. And then we go and do the school run. So I will pop a schedule up on in the description. Yeah, and then we'll go on the school run. We will come back and she will always nap, and she naps really well. I will also talk in a minute about sleep and how I get them to sleep so well. Yeah, so she'll nap. So she'll have a bottle of milk. She has 7 ounces at the moment, and I give that to her in her cot, and then I leave her and she'll go to sleep. She normally takes about half an hour to settle herself. No crying at all. She just like babbles and talks to herself. It's really sweet. And yeah, she'll just fall asleep. And then she'll probably wake up around 12 o'clock. If she goes down about 9, I would say about 2.5 hours she'll probably sleep for. If she goes down at 9, she'll probably wake up about 11:30. I'll give her like half an hour to play, get her some toys out and things, and she'll crawl about and play, or we'll go out into the garden. We've got like a decking area that I put a blanket down and she'll crawl about outside. And she really enjoys that. She loves like looking at the birds and the trees. I think it's nice to get them outside. At the moment, I'll give her like some bread butter, some hummus, blueberries, strawberries, Cheerios. She likes Cheerios. I'll do a video on everything I feed her, as I said, but yeah, she likes all things like that. And then she'll probably be awake for about 2 hours. So at around, depending on when she wakes up, she'll go back for a sleep around like 1:30, 2. I don't let her sleep any later than 3:30. So if she's still asleep by 3:30, I will go and get her, because she'll need another 2 hours before she goes to bed. She'll get up around 3, and then I'll be doing everyone's dinner. Normally I feed them the same as what we're eating, but at the moment I'm sort of doing like her own bits. So she'll just have like the same sort of thing as she would for lunch, for her dinner, and then not long after her dinner she'll go to bed. I like them to sleep with a full stomach, because I think like it's a nice feeling to not be hungry. So I just want to make sure that she's had some food, and then at around 5:30, 6, we'll take her up to bed, give her her 7 ounces. My children sleep really well. My children also eat really well. Back onto eating first is my children, I think, like I don't force them to eat, but they know that they just sort of have to eat their dinner. I can't really explain it. Like Flossie at the moment, she won't finish her dinner, so I'm not like, I don't push it. She won't finish her dinners or her lunches. I'll give her her plate of what she can have, and whatever she eats, whatever she doesn't, she doesn't. She's too young to sort of like pressure her into eating things and that, so I'm not going to be doing that. But by the time they're sort of like around Rue's age, she's nearly 4, probably about 3, they do sort of understand, eat your dinner and then you can have your yogurt and you can have your biscuits. And they really look forward to their yogurt and their biscuits, and they always have a fruit, they don't look forward to that so much. So they just sort of know, like, you just eat your dinner if you want anything else. So usually children do want something else, and you don't have to like sit them at the table with them like crying. I just sort of say like, let's say it's Rue, I'll just say, if you finish your dinner, darling, then you can have a yogurt. And like at first he might cry or not want it, and I'll say that's fine, you leave it. And then he might say, please, can I have a yogurt? And I'll say, well, as soon as you finish your dinner, you can have a yogurt. And just eventually it just happens, and they finish all their dinner. My children do eat really well, but there's things they don't like. They don't like, well, Horatio and Rue, I would say, were more fussy. Cosmo used to be, but he's not anymore at all, because I think children don't necessarily hate the food. There's always food we prefer. And it's the same for children. Like if I went out to go and get something for lunch, I'm going to choose what I'd like to eat. But for dinner, they can't choose. Like they get sort of what you're going to give them for dinner. And we all have preferences. And they sort of realise that actually they don't dislike it. They just would rather have not had that. So they realise that they do like it, if that makes sense. So Rue and Horatio don't like cabbage, tomatoes, mushrooms. So I'll put it on their plate. If they don't want to eat it, they just won't have anything else. And I don't think it's cruel, because I think people would say like, you can't force them to do this, you can't force them to do that. I'm not forcing them. In the long run, I think it's beneficial for them, because I think you make them like different things and realise that they do like it. Whereas if you said, oh, you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to have mushrooms, I'm not putting that on their plate because they don't like that, and Rue doesn't like that, so we can't put that on his plate, then he's never going to like it. If you never put a tomato on Rue's plate, he would grow up saying he hates tomatoes, and he doesn't. Like when he eats one, he's like, Mummy, I ate a tomato, because he likes it. you sort of still need to give the option. I know some people would do like different dinners for different children, or parents have this and they have that. Occasionally we'll have a nice dinner and they'll have what they think is a nice dinner, like they love noodles and pizza, and so sometimes they'll have that and we'll have our thing, and it works like that. But I couldn't every night be making different dinners. If you do make your children what you're eating, and you do sort of make it a thing of like, yeah, you eat your dinner and then you can have this, if not, and yeah, you can go and come back and eat it if you feel like it. And then when they do eat it, just really praise them. And yeah, it really works. So I'll be doing that with Lilac too. And yeah, they just all eat so well. So sleep, in terms of sleep, my children will sleep really well, and it's just the same sort of concept. No child wants to go to bed, but they have to go to bed. And it's not, right, I think the parent needs it. I think like as a mum, you need your child to go to bed and sleep well, because it's good for everybody's mental health. Yeah, so it's good for the child too. I think children need it for their brain development. Children need it to be happy. If I notice that if, especially Horatio, if he goes to bed a bit later, or if he's like up and down the stairs the next day, he's just like the next day, he's just not in like a good mood. And I just know that they need it to be like happy the next day. So I think it's good for them too. Sleep, I am very strict on, and I know lots of people don't agree with babies crying or anything. I don't leave my children screaming, but if they're going to sit there and cry for 5 minutes and it means that they're going to sleep throughout the night, then I will leave them to cry for 5 minutes. Because I think overall your child needs it, and you need it, and your family needs it. And broken sleep is a massive thing. So I usually start like a sort of sleep schedule from when they're about like 3 months old. They can definitely get it from then, maybe towards 4 months, but it definitely can be picked up from then. I would do nap time a bit later, because I think you need to establish your nighttime sleep before you then try and establish a nap time sleep. So I will feed them. I make sure that like in the evening everything's like a bit dark and quiet from when they're newborn, because I have noticed that when I did that, I didn't do it with my first, and I noticed that when I did do that, it made a big difference. And then in the day you make sure it's nice and bright and loud, and you have to try and not be worried if the baby wakes up. And I know you're not getting any sleep and you're like shh when people are around the baby, because you don't want it to wake up. But you sort of just need to make sure that they get the difference between day and night. Like, so it's bright and loud, and nighttime is dark and quiet. So I'll do that for like 3-4 months, and then I realised that it is time for the baby to sleep. So what I will do is I will make it like a nice calm routine, so it's quiet in the evening, give the baby a bath, just nice and like calm atmosphere. Take the baby upstairs, just to a nice dark room, just really quiet, no talking. I always put my babies in a grow bag. I think it's nice for them to just make sure they're really warm. I find that when they are comfortable and yeah, just warm, they sleep nicer. Feed them their bottle and lay them down, and they are always going to cry when you leave them. So I will put them down and they will cry, and I will give 5 minutes. You have to remember, I know people don't like leaving them crying, and I understand, no one wants to hear their child cry, but in the long run they're going to be crying less, because once you get into a thing where they don't sleep, everybody's crying and upset because everybody's overtired. So put them down and let them cry for 5 minutes, go back in, settle them, calm them down, lay them back down. I think with Flossie it did take up like just over a week. I would say from like 5 to 14 days it will take, but you will crack it. I have done it with all my children and it really works, and you really think, because I think with each one it's not going to work. It really does work. So yeah, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Do that for the first few days. They will go to sleep because they're tired, and you are going in and comforting them. Like, they're not crying because they're hungry or hurt, they just want to be held. And yeah, as people say, babies should be held, babies should be loved, babies shouldn't be put down. If your baby's crying at night then your baby just wants you. Yeah, they do. But they have me all day long, and I literally have them all day long. Like, when they are born, they are attached to me, probably until about 5 months old. I have like a sling, and they do not get off me. The people say like, Lorien, you need to put the baby down. I'm just like, in the day, I'm happy, like, it's fine, I don't mind. But at night time, everybody just needs it. So 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Do that for a few days, and then do 10 minutes. And then do 15 minutes. You might not even get that far, but that's just sort of how it go, and then half an hour, but they're not gonna sit there and scream for half an hour, so you're just not gonna get that far. And that is literally as simple as it is. It literally cracks it. Honestly, like, it's really hard at the time. So me and Curtis be like, oh, like, I can't do this. I'll be like, Curtis, I can't. They're never gonna go to sleep. They do go to sleep, you do crack it, like, and it's such a nice feeling when you crack it and they go to sleep, and then you put them down and they go straight to sleep. It just really works. I promise you it works if you stick to it. And then once that's like really established, I find that my children just sleep so much better in the night. They don't wake up as much. I would say they would then wake up maybe a few times in the night, and it's just down to their development and if they're hungry. So if they wake up for a bottle, I'll always go up and give them a bottle. I'll never leave them up there crying, because once you've sort of established the main like them understanding they can self-settle, once they wake up in the night, they have a bottle, they go back to sleep. It's not like they wake up and they get up crying. I think they just know, like, they'll have their milk, they go back to sleep. So it just works. So then no matter how many times they wake up in the night, I will give them a bottle, go back to bed, feed them. If they can't hold it themselves, if they can hold it, I'll let them hold it and I'll go back to bed. Yes, that's just how it goes. At the moment, Lilac wakes once in the night or not at all. It just depends. Flossie is 2 and she goes to bed at 6:30. She has a bottle of milk in her bed. They all have always had that, and it just settles them really well. So she'll have a warm bottle of milk in bed, and she'll go up to bed about 6:30. She'll have her story, she'll get into her bed, her side is off her cot now, and she'll just go to sleep. And she sleeps all night. Occasionally in the evening she'll cry and you just go up there, give her a cuddle, put her back down. It's never an option to come out of bed if they are crying, so they just know that they're not coming out of bed. If they do, I'll put them back, come out, put them back, because I've had it before with Horatio where we took the side of his cot and he would just keep coming downstairs. So I'll just put him back in his bed, go downstairs. You just keep putting them back and going, putting them back going. Eventually they sort of get that they're not going to be allowed down, because if you allow them to wake up, come downstairs and mess about, then they're going to know they don't have to go to bed. Sometimes it's easier to let them do what they want because you can't bother to deal with it. Sometimes, like, my kids will do something, like they'll be holding something or playing with something. I think, oh, you're not supposed to be playing with that. I can't be bothered to deal with it. But then I think, no, I have to, or they just know that they can do what they want because they know they're not supposed to have it. Not in any like disrespectful or rude way, but I think parents that are like getting up with their children when they're crying and sitting with them, and like, you know, like when people get up and they'll read with them in the middle of the night because they're crying, or they'll lay with them because they'll only sleep when they're laying with them. I don't think it's fair on the child. I think you need to leave them so they can sleep like they need it for their development, and it just makes everyone happier. Yeah, I think like all mums and dads need just some you time. You need it for yourself. So yeah, that's how I get a good sleep, and I hope it sort of answered any questions anyone had on that. If I haven't answered it very well, or you'd like me to like expand on anything, then please do let me know, and I will do another video on how. But now I'm just going to look at the questions I got asked. I think I probably have pretty much answered it, but we'll see. How do you get sleep through the night? So that is like, I have answered that, how I get sleep through the night. I hope I've explained it like well and not gone on too much, and it just sort of makes sense. Do your kids wake each other up when crying in the night? No, they don't. Even if they get woken up, like, they don't, but occasionally they have been, but it's not like a thing. Okay, it did say my camera temperature was too high. I think it was like sitting in the sunlight patch. So I've just moved it. What was I saying? Do your kids wake each other up in the night when crying? They don't. I think like they have done, and they'll just go back to sleep, because once you're just really into like the routine of them sleeping and knowing they're not, if they're going to get out of bed, they're going to go back into their bed, then there's no point in them keep getting out of bed. They're going to go back to sleep. So I think like them waking each other up has never really been a big issue, because they'll go back to sleep. Just out of curiosity, what form of discipline, I hate to use that word, do you find works best for your children? I never know what word to use. Sometimes I use words and I think it sounds really harsh, and I don't mean it like that. It's hard, isn't it? Discipline, I am even struggling with at the moment. Me and Curtis are sort of a bit different. Like, he's much stricter than me. I think I'm quite relaxed, and I'm really struggling. Cosmo's just really easy. He never needs to be told anything. He's so good. He does as he's told. He'll go where he's supposed to go. I think it's just down to personality, isn't it? So Cosmo never really ever needs any form of discipline, but the others, especially Horatio and Rue, do. And I find they learn from each other too, don't they? Like Horatio will say things and do things that Rue will then say and do, and I think, you literally sound like Horatio. So what do I do? To be honest, I don't do lots, because I sort of feel like I want my children just to be happy all the time. I never want them to be sad. I found that I used to be stricter, so someone would do something and someone would come and tell me, and I'd like get all like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, don't do this, that's not very nice. And we used to make them sit on the stairs. I'm at a point where I'm not sure what I agree with. I think like as adults we upset each other, we do things wrong, and like if Curtis upsets me, I can't tell him to go and sit on the stairs because he's an adult. So why are we treating adults differently to children? I know children need to learn, but at the end of the day, we all know how to behave. Children know what's right and they know what's wrong. And it's just sort of like just telling them what's right and wrong. I do struggle. It's definitely not easy. Like Horatio and Rue can be extremely rude. Sometimes I stand and think, ooh, I don't really know what to say. That's where I find it difficult. Like me and Curtis clash a bit, and I would say if me and Curtis argue, that's what we will argue over, because he'll like jump to like end goal straight away, and I don't agree with that. I think we all need a chance. They're children, they make mistakes, and they don't know right from wrong completely. They do sort of know, but not, you know, they are learning. So say if one of them's like runs away in the shop, I'll be like, babe, can you come back here? And they don't come back. Sometimes they'll be like, no. Like Rue will be like, no. Rue, come here. No. And then I find it really difficult. Like I'll go and get him, I'll hold his hand, I won't let him go, and I'll say like, no, you've run away, you're not getting away from me, you're staying with me now. But Curtis would be like I'll give him a chance to come back. Curtis would be like, Rue, come here. And he'd be like, no. And he'd be like, right, you're not going to switch tonight. Rue doesn't have a switch, but that's an example. And like that's what he'd say to Horatio. Horatio's like messing around, like, okay, you're not going to switch tonight. And I think, oh. It's like end game before you've even tried. So no judgment on Curtis and his parenting. He's an amazing father. But yeah, I just don't think you need to give them a chance. Also for your own sake. If you straight away take away the thing they really love, then they sort of are going to clue up and realise like, well, there's no point in me listening to you anymore because there's nothing else you can take from me. So I think I'm probably too relaxed, but if anybody does know the best way, because I don't myself, so yeah, I'll usually be like this morning I'm taking Rue to nursery and he keeps running away from me. I'm like, Rue, please come back. And he just doesn't listen to me. He just carries on. So then we get there and it was too early to press the buzzer, so I didn't want to disturb the nursery. And he runs up to do it and I was like, no, Rue, don't press the buzzer yet. And he turns around, looks at me and presses the buzzer, like looks at me dead in the eye. So I will do something about it because he doesn't really listen to me. So when he comes home from nursery, usually before we go and pick up the boys, he will watch like an episode of Super Potato or Super Worm or something like that. So he's not going to do that because I hate like talking about them, you know, like personally. But yeah, it's the only way for me to describe it. So when he comes home, I will say like, baby, no, you're not going to watch Super Worm because you didn't listen to me this morning when I said please don't press the buzzer. You pressed the buzzer and we weren't allowed to press the buzzer. So like, how about you go on the trampoline? And like give him something else he can do because he's going to make mistakes. He's 3 years old. Then things like that, like, well, no, you can't watch that because you did this. So why don't you go and build something with Lego? And I'll give them something else they can do. But it works because they did want to do the other thing, they just realised that no, because they did that. I think it works, but my children are in no way, like all of us, like me, no way perfect. I'm not like being horrible about my children because I'm in no way perfect. They are in no way perfect. So if you look at my family and think, her children are so well behaved, like they do all of this, they do, but they do things wrong too. So yeah, not everything's perfect. They don't always eat their dinner. 9 out of 10 times they do, but they don't always. They do talk back to me. I just think I'm really calm and relaxed. I think like the best way to be is relaxed. If you're like with someone, like as adults, and they're like really like stressing you out and just like, oh, come on, and things like that, then you feel stressed out, don't you? Whereas if someone's like, no, it's okay, like take your time, you just think, oh, well, that's like relaxing. Like I just think like the best way to be is just calm and realise that like they've run around the shop because get a bit like, come back, come back. I'm like, they're not doing anything wrong. Like, just calm, and it makes the atmosphere calmer. They feel happier. So yeah, I hope that sort of explains it. If anybody has any more questions, then please do ask me. Leave them below or message me on Instagram, and I will do another video. I'll do another update video on everything. But that is everything for that video, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it sort of helped you a bit. And obviously not everyone's going to agree with my parenting. You don't have to agree with my parenting, and we won't all agree with everything everyone does. There's going to be some things where we think you can't do that, but we can just all be nice to each other. And hopefully I will see you on my next video.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in the